Picture this. It's 8 a.m. on a Tuesday morning. You've just sat down with your coffee and a colleague forwards you a LinkedIn post published by your Asia Pacific regional office. It uses the wrong logo, an outdated tagline, and a tone of voice that sounds like a hyperactive teenager rather than a trusted enterprise provider. Your heart sinks. You are the brand manager. You are supposed to be the guardian of this brand. But right now you feel like a glorified copy editor playing an endless game of whack-a-mole. Whether you manage an intricate portfolio for a global CPG company or navigating strict regulations in healthcare, as I used to do, or wrangle regional offices in retail or tech, the pain is still exactly the same. Your C-suite wants you to increase outputs from internal teams without increasing the headcount. Now, you want to bring in more work in-house. You want to prove the actual cost reductions and launch products faster without breaking the rules. So what are you going to do?
Welcome to another Just Add Social podcast, and our host is with me in the other studio room. Clive, how are you today?
Well, I'm actually doing very well today. Thank you very much. I'm waving back to you through the glass here in the studio.
Good to hear that. And today you are talking about a way to stop brand managers continually having to fix off-brand content, a kind of enterprise brand manager's playbook powered by AI.
Yes, indeed. We are talking about how to go digital with your brand DNA and align your workflows so you can stop fixing those basic brand issues all day and start shaping the bigger brand story. So I've worked with many brand managers over the years, and I've kind of been the brand police on the social media side. And I've had those kind of situations that I've just described. I can actually remember very clearly. And so, yeah, then you say, did they go through the brand training? Did they go through the brand website? How long have they been with us? Oh, they should know better. We know all of that kind of thing. But you still have to fix it. And I've done stuff where, I've made a mistake as well. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot this or that. And you have to go and fix it. So today we're going to be looking at these kind of issues, the use cases around making sure your brand online, in particular with social media, is more on brand than off. And we're going to look at a tool that I've been using for the last 7 months or so that really is fantastic and can really help you to protect your brand DNA. But before we get started, let me introduce you to the Social Savvy Scale. In this podcast series, the Just Add Social podcast series, we have a way to describe how advanced the topic is. So we provide this number up front in the podcast description and at the start of each podcast. This enables you to have a heads up as to the depth of detail so you can decide which podcast is best for you to learn from based on your personal view of your own social media savviness. So the scale is from 1 to 10, with 1 being for beginners and 10 being very advanced. So Arya, what is the social savvy scale number for this podcast?
Okay, Clive. For this podcast, the social savvy scale is, in my opinion, between levels 7 and 8. Let me tell you what level 8 is. It is advanced, so an expert level knowledge of social media marketing, capable of innovation and optimization of campaign strategy and tactics.
Thank you very much. So that we've never had one that's kind of in between 2 levels before, or that covers 2 levels. But today is a very advanced topic, and so I'm going to get started with Chapter 1.
Chapter 1, Just Add Social Podcast.
And chapter 1 is called Scaling Outputs Without Adding Headcount. That's a really interesting topic. So let's start with that, the operational reality. So how do you actually increase internal outputs without begging the CFO for more headcount, let's say? So strategy and tactics tell us that we have to fix the biggest bottleneck in marketing today, the briefing and drafting phase. And when your internal teams create assets from scratch, it requires a bit of guesswork. Guesswork leads to endless revision cycles. So the solution is embedding your exact rules into the creation stage. I think that will help a lot. I've been at this point many times with agencies or myself or with interns, and it is a stage that, will set the tone for how good the assets are at the end, but also how many approval rounds. And we all know what that's like, right? So by turning your mission, your tone rules, and key messages into a digitalized framework, every new piece of content starts from the same governed base, no matter what business you're in, or no matter what country office you're in or headquarters. It's the same governed base as long as you have access to that base. So you use AI assistants to do the heavy lifting of drafting those social posts, let's say emails and campaign ideas, but this also extends to playbooks, guidelines, videos, images. All of that is covered by this. So this maximizes the ROI, the return on investment, by dramatically cutting the time it takes to get from a blank page to a usable first draft, proving the business case for keeping the in-house team. And most importantly, on brand each and every time. So this tool that I'm going to talk about at the end, I've been using, and it's really good because I manage several brands with this this test of this tool. And when I enter what we call the brand vault for each tool, and then I want to create images or videos or maybe a campaign structure, it will then go through those brand vault settings, making sure it's on brand each and every time. And that also not only applies to things like documents, and I've done a lot of documents in testing this tool, but also the assets like videos or images or infographics or carousels. So I've made all of those with this tool. So that's really interesting, right? How can you do all of that without adding headcount? Well, as I say, this tool that I've used really is really good at creating output really fast. But the really cool aspect of it compared to using ChatGPT, it can stay within your security areas. So IT, privacy, all of those guidelines, all of those requirements are covered by this tool. And it stays within your brand, and you don't have to go out to use ChatGPT. So you don't have to enter any of the private intellectual property that you don't want staff entering into these public tools. You can actually use AI tools that are very similar, using all those models, but inside the company firewall. Okay, so now let's move on to the second aspect of all of this, which I'm very used to over the years. And it's about managing sub-brands and country offices and things like that. A lot of my time was spent doing all of that. This tool helps you with that, and we're going to cover that in Chapter 2.
Chapter 2, Just Add Social Podcast.
Great, and Chapter 2 is called Taming the Chaos of Multiple Sub-Brands. Yeah. Now, if you smile because you experience this a lot, well then yes, I smile along with you. And so now let's look deeply at what the issue is and maybe a possible solution. So now managing one unified voice is an intricate process already, right? But when you're managing 10 or more product lines across global regions, it becomes a completely different beast. So this is the situation, and this tool can actually help you with that. So to tame this chaos, you need strict boundaries. So think of it as creating distinct digital vaults for each sub-brand, right? So each sub-brand gets a vault. Each vault holds its own value propositions, specific rules. For example, your consumer services brand might have a hard rule that says this brand never uses humor. And you can have lots of these type of requirements built into the vault, and the campaign material, the booklets, the guidelines, the videos, the images that are all created stemming from this brand vault will comply to these brand requirements. So, for example, put your biotech product vaults. Let's say that you have your biotech company and you have a product vault. Then it could say, for example, we always lead with a specific clinical benefit. So you could have that written into your brand vault requirements, and then all the things and assets that come out of that brand vault in this tool will lead with this clinical benefit. So when regional folks that you have, regional staff, initiate a workflow, they select the matching brand vault first for the brand that they're going to be doing, because they might be posting on behalf of several brands, running campaigns via campaign schedules for different brands that the company has. The content generated will then strictly adhere to these guardrails. And brand managers, they love this term, guardrails, right? So the guardrails will be there. You get fewer random shifts in style because everyone is pulling from the same shared approved base. And that brand vault can be then protected, and then when it's updated by the approved person. So this is a really interesting aspect about controlling or managing multiple sub-brands. Now, I've been involved in tools that have pretty extensive approval flows, and then all day we'd get the local countries and sub-brands pumping draft posts through these approval flows. And it's quite a lot of work to then go back and check, is this on brand? But if you can already set that in the beginning of the creation phase, there's less time spent on the approvals process. That's the big benefit of this when you're managing several sub-brands or country locations. Then this is it. Okay, now let's look at another aspect of dealing with digital brands and multiple brands for large companies as a brand manager. There's particularly talking to brand managers in this podcast. And that's the topic of chapter 3. And here I'm going to be talking about launching products faster, cost effectively, and on brand. So this is
Chapter 3. Just add social podcast.
Indeed. So here's a phrase that we hear so often: speed to market, right? So speed to market is everything, but rushing is usually where the brand wheels fall off the car, right? You need cost-effective ways to launch quickly without compromising your standards. So the most effective tactic here is utilizing approved building blocks. So as I've shown in my video, instead of allowing teams to invent new taglines on the fly because they're in a hurry, right? There's a new brand launch. You can centralize your campaign lines. So you set the rules. Use this phrase only for brand campaigns, not for performance ads, etc., etc. You can create these rules. When a team generates launch materials for Instagram or LinkedIn, the system pulls strictly from these approved phrases. So you can say, for Instagram, this is the way we want to do it, and for LinkedIn, this is the way we want to do it. So all of this can be in the brand vault. The system pulls strictly from these approved phrases. It adjusts the tone for the channel, the energetic for Instagram, or maybe expert for LinkedIn, depending on your approach, while strictly maintaining your core message. You get the speed of AI, but you get the safety of human governance. Now, what's better than that? Because we've all been in situations where you have normal brand launches going on, and then over the top you get something that's needed really fast. And you've got to go through all the approvals, all the checks across all the different departments that contribute in tools and so forth. It's really good if the base is already on brand from the start when you create these assets. Okay, now let's look at another aspect for chapter 4. And this is aligning the workflows to elevate your role. Yeah, that's the topic of chapter 4.
Chapter 4. Just Add Social Podcast.
Okay, so when you align your functions, your tools and your workflows into a single environment, your day-to-day as a brand manager fundamentally shifts. So you simply spend less time proofreading for basic tone errors, and brand managers get paid a reasonable amount of money. Lots of experience normally. It's a bit of a waste for them just to be sat there proofreading all these things for very basic brand tone errors. Because your internal teams are producing these drafts that are close to kind of on brand by default. You are freed up to review the work at a higher strategic level. And I think that's the big thing, right? If you can get away from dealing with these kind of basic errors, you can say, right, did this material that's coming through these drafts, are they really aligned to the higher message that we had in our brand document, our brand brief? Does it all circle back as you expected? And that's where you want to have most of your time. That's more rewarding. Seeing that alignment, you've got a better chance of your campaign being successful then. So you ask the real questions. Is this the right underlying message? Will this drive pipeline impact? Right? So you need to stop being a proofreader and become the Jedi. I love that phrase. You become the Jedi of your organization's brand architecture, but you need some help for that. You guide the strategy while the system manages the guardrails. And that's where I think this tool really does come into its own. Now, what tool is it? You're asking yourself now, we've gone through 4 chapters. Well, in chapter 5, the key takeaway chapter, I'm going to reveal what that tool is. So, Aria, can you lead us into the key takeaway section, please?
Counting you in. Ready? On my mark. 3, 2, 1.
Thank you, Aria. Well done. So now we're going to really sum up how to protect your brand DNA with a digital tool that I've been playing with, using for the last 7 months or so. It's really good. So to make this level of strategic governance a reality, you need more than just a disconnected set of tools. And that's what a lot of us have, right? You have these different, brand site, brand guideline, booklet, and it's not really happening. It doesn't happen or work when you're actually creating the assets themselves. And that's where I think this tool really comes into its own. So you need more than just a disconnected set of tools. So you need an environment that enforces your rules at every step of the content creation lifestyle. And that is where this tool called Gimmefy, and it actually sounds very much like the Give Me 5 welcome. So if you think about that, then you can remember the name Gimmefy. So Gimmefy steps in as your brand operating system. That's what it is. It's like your operating system for your brand. Now, it unites your brand strategy, your market intelligence, your AI models, your workflows, and your human governance in one marketing system. And on top of that, as I can see it, it learns about you. It creates these instincts, and then it adds those to your brand vault, so you can see it's learning about your behaviors, who you are, and it can bring in real-time updates about your competitors and so forth into the way that it creates content. So it's not just something that's created and updated and put into the tool 2 months ago, 1 week ago, 3 days ago, and it stands there. No, it actually starts learning and updating, keeping itself on brand with what you want, but at least it's getting more knowledge on things as time evolves. So it's a wonderful little tool, and so it's powered by the world's leading AI models. So that's the other aspect of it, that you have so many tools that you may use. If you're somebody who's used to using AI and you use different tools for different things, you often have to keep yourself updated on what the latest version is, right? So this tool, Gimmefy, has all the normal models you might want to use. So it's got Gemini in there, and it's got Dance for images. But you've also got Claude, Fable, GPT, Grok, Sonar Pro, Kimi, GLM. There's a whole list of them, and they're updated in the background so that you only have to use the one tool, and you don't have to worry about I need to go and see if there's an update on Claude or something. It's all done there already for you. So that keeps you on track. You only have to have the one tool, and it has all the latest AI models in it. So it's grounded in the deep marketing expertise layer on top of all of that. So I found it very, very, very interesting, and had some fantastic tasks done by the tool, of which I will explain. Now, so far I'm going through how the tool can help brand managers. If you watch the video, you can see a question and answer session between myself and the brand manager, who's also me, and it gives you an idea of the scope of the tool. But I'll be going through all the other roles: communications, compliance, IT, marketing. I'll be going through all of those roles on how Gimmefy can help with the workflows and the tasks and the demands of all those different roles. So obviously I have to declare right now that I'm also acting in this case as an influencer role working with Gimmefy. So I may earn a commission on purchases made through this link if you decide to sign up. So if you are interested and you want to think smarter, create faster, stay in control, by locking in your brand vault with Gimmefy, your story shows up exactly the same everywhere. Now, are you interested in that? And I've shown it, and I can actually say it works very well. So are you a brand manager wanting to think smarter, create faster, and stay in control? Then sign up your company to Gimmefy, and the link is in the description. Now, I'll just read it out just in case you want to try it straight away. Platform.gimmefylabs.com/auth as AUTH. So that's the link. Now, if you do sign up as a company, enter the code when you're in there as Clive, and it gives you an extra 500 points to your sign up. So that's worthwhile having. So do remember that. So now I'm going to give you a task as part of the key takeaway, because I promised a quick win. So here's your homework for this week. So pick just one of your sub-brands or regional markets, the one that gives you the most headaches. As a social media manager or brand manager, you will know who that is. Write down 3 absolute do's and 3 absolute don'ts for their tone of voice, plus your 1 core approved tagline, let's say. So that 7-point list is your first brand vault. It's as easy as that. You can start with that. Of course, you can add more, and I've created my brand vaults for different brands, and you can really fill it out with lots of things, but you can just start with that, and instantly it cuts down your revision time. So if you're in the tool Gimmefy and you start in the studio and hey, I want to have some posts drafted, and here's my target audience, and here's what I'm thinking of. Or you can go and want to create a search engine marketing plan, or you might want to review your GEO schemas, or you might want to create a whole campaign playbook, or you might want to even start to draft a newsletter. All of that is in Gimmefy, and I will be talking over the next few series about all these different sections. But it all starts with the Brand Vault. So try it and let me know how it goes. Thanks for listening in to the Just Add Social podcast. And today we've been dealing with protecting your brand DNA. And I thank Aria. She's in the studio there waving at me through the glass. Just turn your mic on and say goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to the podcast. See you all next time.
Thank you very much, Aria. Thank you very much for listening, everybody. And we will continue this series on Gimmefy. And so tune in to see what the next role will be. Today was brand. What will be next? But thank you very much for listening. Take care and see you next time.